When you call 911 with a medical emergency, you want help fast. Who will answer your 911 call? In the North Fork Valley, the people who respond are no strangers. They are your neighbors, friends, relatives, and co-workers. They open doors into your home, your office, your car. They walk into your life and they may save it. At that moment, when you need them the most, they are there.
Once I had chest pain and couldn't get my breath.
These are the men and women of the North Fork Ambulance Association who devote their time, knowledge, and skills to serve you, your loved ones, and your community during an emergency. They respond at all hours, in all kinds of weather, and are trained to handle any emergency. They are also volunteers. They could be you.
The reason I became an EMT for the North Fork Ambulance was because have you ever been in a situation where you saw somebody hurt in front of you and you didn't know what to do? Well, I had my 2-year-old son fall out a second-story window, and I didn't know what to do. And I sat there and looked at him, and I thought, this is never going to happen to me again. I'm never not going to know what to do. And so I started pursuing becoming an EMT, because you don't know who around you could need somebody in a moment. And you don't know who that person's going to be. It could be somebody in your own family. It could be a friend. It could be a next-door neighbor. You don't know who it is. But when somebody needs help, they need help now. And somebody has to be there who can give them the help they need.
I'm a bank loan processor and a volunteer EMT.
I'm a firefighter and an EMT.
I'm a sustainability coordinator for a local environmental nonprofit as well as a volunteer EMT.
I work for Delta County School District as a transportation dispatcher, and I'm an EMT.
Best thing for me being a volunteer EMT is simply the fact that I was able to help someone in their hour of need.
The North Fork Ambulance Association has a distinguished history of volunteerism, dedicated to providing the best, most efficient, and most effective emergency medical care possible. The association was formed in 1969 and continues today as a nonprofit, all-volunteer emergency medical service agency supported by revenue from memberships, grants, and donations, not by tax dollars.
Hello, sir. What are you doing?
Oh, it's cutting wood, and I leaned into the saw with my leg.
Recruiting volunteers is one of the major challenges faced by the North Fork Ambulance Association today. Currently, the number of our EMS volunteers are at critically low levels. Residents and visitors to the North Fork Valley may begin to experience longer response times. If an EMT and a driver team cannot be put together when a 911 call goes out in one of our communities, the next nearest community is then paged to respond, costing valuable time. To avoid this delay in emergency response, we need more volunteers. We need you.
It teaches you how to be flexible. It teaches you how to adapt in certain situations, shift gears on the fly, and you can apply that kind of experience to everyday life. And
need to know what to do and how to do it, and how you're going to have the best outcome is really valuable, because there's a lot of people out there that have no idea, now what do I do? And the training teaches you, this is what you do.
I have found that being an emergency medical technician is absolutely the most rewarding thing that I have ever done in my life.
Is there an alternative to volunteer EMS in the North Fork? A private ambulance service perhaps, or a tax-based system as is common in more populated areas? Considering the large rural coverage area, the North Fork Valley does not have the EMS call volume and associated profit potential to attract a private ambulance service. If a new ambulance tax district were supported by voters, with a comparable mill levy revenue to that of Delta County Ambulance District, tax revenues might fund one centrally located ambulance station. A far cry from our current position, with ambulances based in all three communities. The cost of wages alone to staff 3 communities 24/7 with paid ambulance crews would be nearly $1 million per year. Unrealistic in our rural community.
I'm Dr. Peter Pruitt. I'm an emergency physician at the Delta County Memorial Hospital, and I volunteer as the physician advisor for the North Fork Ambulance. My interest in emergency care began about 30 years ago when I volunteered as a basic EMT for the Evergreen Ambulance Service, providing coverage for a rural area west of Denver. I found it so interesting and exciting, I decided to make a career of it. That path eventually led me back here to Delta County and the North Fork, where I found another group of dedicated volunteers helping their community by providing high-quality, low-cost emergency medical services. I couldn't resist joining. What I found was a great core group of drivers, EMTs, and other volunteers running a well-equipped and organized service. There's a high level of camaraderie and professionalism among these folks. And what I've also noticed is when I receive North Fork patients in the emergency department, a higher level of compassion for their patients, probably because they're caring for their friends and neighbors. The only thing we're missing is your help. Some of these volunteers put in more than 100 hours a month for 2 reasons. One, because they really love it, and the other is because we don't have enough volunteers to cover all 3 communities 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. If you're watching this video, I'd like you to consider volunteering or encouraging your friends or family to volunteer. Thank you.
You can help keep your ambulance service in your community. The minimum age requirement for a driver or EMT is age 18. Drivers need a current Colorado driver's license and must take a professional healthcare provider CPR course. Those wishing to become EMTs must take an EMT basic course designed to provide initial training in emergency medical care for EMS providers. Funding for the EMT class and continuing education is available in exchange for a commitment to become an active EMT for your community.
The biggest thing that I can offer up is a lot of people say that they're not sure that they can do what we do. And the biggest thing that you have to be able to do what we do is a heart, a kind heart. The rest just falls into place.
I believe that the North Fork Ambulance is neighbors helping neighbors.
Help keep the spirit of volunteerism alive in the North Fork Valley. Talk to your friends, relatives, and neighbors about becoming an active volunteer. Encourage someone you know to join the North Fork Ambulance Association EMS Volunteers. If you don't, who will? Statistics show the average U.S. citizen will require emergency medical services 2 times during their lifetime. Will you be there for your neighbor? Will someone be there for you?